Hello, hello, wonderful, amazing ladies, and welcome to the world of dance. So, this is for you who are completely new to this, has never tried it before, maybe just seen it, or is interested in it in some way. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of dance, and then the history of belly dance or rakshaki as it's called nowadays in the modern. So, okay, first of all, my name is Celeste. I am from Denmark. I have been dancing for 10 years now, since I was 19. And well, I've known about belly dance before because my mother was dancing, so I tried it a little bit, a few times, but didn't really start until I was 19. So that is the short version of my dance story. And first, now recently, I've been out about it on social media, on my profiles, on making videos, and so on. And I've been teaching on these. We have these evening schools in Denmark that has all kinds of training and different kinds of sports. So I've been teaching there. I've been teaching workshops and a few other things. So I can't wait for you to get to learn this amazing, beautiful, and magical dance that I think it is, and how it has transformed my life, and I hope it will transform yours as well. So I just want to quickly tell you a little bit about the history, and then we're going to do I actually think we're going to do an entire choreography. You're going to learn some moves, we're going to do some combinations, and then we're going to make it into a song. So that's going to be, but you will get it. So no worries, everything's going to be fine. Just enjoy yourself, relax, and have fun. Make sure that you have water by your side, that you are hydrated, you're ready, that you have some clothes on that is relaxed, or kind of yoga clothes, or something that's comfortable, and get ready to listen and learn and try some new things. So thank you so much for being here, and let's get into it. So I have my notes here beside me because I cannot remember everything, but just generally, all people have been dancing since the dawn of man. So this is nothing new. Actually, I think it's something that we've been doing from way back, and something that we forgot kind of the last few centuries. So it's a very deep rooted and very important part of who we are as human beings. It affects us, our brain, our mood, our energy, our body, how we're feeling, what we're doing, and so on. On the sign up page, if you've been there, I have some links. I put in some links for different types of studies and professors and other people talking about how dancing affects us, because not only is it great exercise, which you should be doing, but it also affects your brain. It's really good brain exercise because, and especially for belly dance, because we do so many isolations, it's a brain workout as well. So you get all of the benefits from everything you need in dance, and it's fun, and it's great, and it's amazing. So the only reason you shouldn't be doing it is if it's not for you. Obviously, if it's not appealing to you, well then no, you should not do it. But if you feel like it's interesting and you want to try it out, then you're gonna love it. Okay, so dancing has been used for social events, for celebrating, for entertainment, for spiritual ceremonies, and pretty much anything around the world. So this is not something that they just did in the East. It's something we've been doing everywhere. It's just different types of dance, different types of music, but something we all as human beings have in common is music and dancing. So, and actually the oldest findings of of dance, you know, that we can watch back and see, okay, they have, this is a document that we've been dancing was I think in some 9,000 years old caves in India where they make these, you know, cave paintings where they could see that they were dancing, and they used it for to depict hunting and other different stuff. But we have that's the oldest one, and then of course Egypt. I think it was the next one. Yeah, 3 millennia before Christ. In Egypt, we also have these depictions from, you've probably seen some documentaries from Egypt. If you haven't, go watch them. They are very, very interesting. I love watching that. So I've been watching everything that there is on YouTube around Egypt. But they show also, you know, the life back then in pictures and in dancing and in ceremonies. And we know the priest, or the theory is that priests and priestesses has been using dancing and music for different kinds of ceremonies, different kinds of, you know, when they were offering or whatever they did. I just got distracted because I wanted to see if there are people who wanted to come on who couldn't. Nope. All right, so continuing. So yeah, they have been used for very ceremonial uses, rituals, and different kinds of things. I believe that way back, like hundreds of thousands of years, it has been, and it's also in different kinds of cultures, we can see this, that it's and like I said, I believe that it's a fertility ritual and or a birth ritual, because what most or many belly dancers, if they started dancing before they got kids, or like in the middle of it, has experienced that knowing belly dance and the ability to control your body like this makes childbirth a lot more easy than if you have no idea of what you're doing. So I really believe that this is actually a birth practice, before birth practice. So this is preparing your body to the birth, and it's actually teaching your body how to give birth. And well, I also believe there are several ways, but this is just one of them. So yeah, and then after Egypt, it kind of spread into at least one of them, like Greece, into the first millennia. You know, they had these games, and then they had some dancing for kind of warm up, or what you want to call it. And that's again what we see several places, like dancing has been used as a celebration, or for parties, for preparation for something. And of course, like I said, this is belly dance, what we know it. Oriental dance is very much Eastern. So in the Western, and where I come from, and more West, it's a much more different dance. But what I love about belly dance is that it is strictly for the woman. This is for us. This is a way to love our body. It's a way to love ourselves. It's a way to get down into a body, to know our body better. At least this is the experience that I had, that I got into my body. I learned to love my body, and I started to feel confident about my body. You know, we have all of these body image issues nowadays. I probably know this. You never feel good enough. There's always someone prettier. You should look like this, like the cover magazine girls and all of that. So it really helped me at a time where I actually was a little overweight to accept and love my body. again, that's just one aspect of why I love it. And actually, it's more of the feeling of the movements that I love, because when I started dancing, I didn't have like a picture that this is what it's going to be like, or oh, I just it's going to make me look so beautiful. It was more the feeling that it gave, that I had in my body when I was dancing, and still do. Usually, I close my eyes, I dance with my eyes closed, and I just move to, well, I don't even need music, but I just move around, and that's what feels amazing in my body. Yes. So so the modern belly dance, or what we have now, is actually a mix of many different styles. So we have some movements that we call Arabic circles, or something, or Turkish drops, or um yeah, we have these Egyptian shimmy, we have these moves or techniques from different part of the world, because this is where they kind of came from, where we've seen it, and then we call them Egyptian shimmy or Arabic uh, circle or something like that. So it's not just one thing, it's many things. There are so many styles. We also have some Indian, and we actually have a lot of ballet. I'm gonna get back to that in a second. But ballet also shaped belly dance a lot, at least the last century. But the way it kind of evolved is from gypsies who were traveling around. They were dancing and singing and playing music, and then they traveled around into different countries, and then they learned, they picked up something, they picked up rhythms and movements from local dancers, and then they brought it into their dance, and then it evolved. So that's kind of one way how we have fused this. And actually, the hip scarf, the coin belt, that is a very classical thing, a piece of clothing, actually comes from the gypsies, because the more coins you had on your scarf, the better dancer you were. So the more coins you had, the more you could show how much money you were making. So that's actually a gypsy thing. It was very popular a few years ago. Now it's kind of it's slowly going away, and personally, I want to say I'm happy about that, because it's very noisy. But if you like it, just do it. It doesn't matter. And that's the just one thing from me personally. I don't go into rules like how you should do things. I'm a believer that dance is an art and it's a way of expression, and you should do it your way, not anyone else's way. So you will learn techniques from me, you will learn choreographies from me, and a lot of other people when you first get into the dancing, and then you find your own style in that. So it's about finding yourself and finding your style. I do respect and love very much folklore and the history. That's why I just want a quick touch on history before we get into the dancing, because you should know just a little bit about it. So yeah, that was just, I'm gonna tell you that probably many times. So yes, the modern word for belly dance has become rakshaki. And I don't remember where, but reading somewhere that actually the belly dance that we have now, that became popular in the 20s and 30s, was an interpretation from the Americans of the Egyptian belly dance, which the Egyptians then kind of took back in some way, and then made it like that. If it makes sense, it was like the Americans saw it, and then they did something, and then they kind of made their version of it, and then the Egyptians kind of looked at them like, oh, okay, we did that, we do that too. So yeah, So the classical, you know, when you think belly dance, you think about a maybe a young, beautiful dancer, just got the right sizes, slim fit, and with this two-piece, like half-naked woman, which is, yes, the very modern, say, version or look at it. But actually, if you go back, like more way back from the beginning, or at least from before then, a dancer was actually fully clothed. So you would not see a dancer on the street like half naked, because you didn't do that back then. You were more covered, and that's kind of the modern, making maybe American, and kind of making everything sexy, and because that is kind of the look. There were some dancers, and then that became the thing, like yeah, the symbol of belly dance. But actually, if you go back and I'm not going to talk a lot about styles, but when you get into that, Saidi and Baladi, which are the more folklore styles, you're wearing a full dress with this, with a hip scarf, and that is the original version. So all of the other things you see is something that has come over time. Again, nothing wrong with that, because the dance evolves, people evolve, and we change, and we make things in a different way because we're all different. But just know that if someone asks, you know, back whenever, it was a full on dress. You will see that if you go watch Baladi or Saidi, full dress. Yes. So, and it went from, like I said, it was a celebration, like a birthday thing, and especially around Egypt, it's still, belly dance is still a huge part of it. You need a belly dancer for your wedding, because it's a fertility thing, you know, ritual of health and wealth, and have lots of children. And so you need a belly dancer there. But it was kind of, the way I think it, more of a at home, you know, dance, something you did at home, or in gatherings and things like that. So more of a street dance, where it then later in the 20s, I think, around 20s, 30s, it became like a stage dance, like a performance dance, like ballet. But before that, it was like, it was a club dance. It was something that you had for on restaurants, or at home, or at special occasions. So with different types of dances. And so there's just a few, actually just two, that I want to mention, which is the Reda group. A family of two bound together by marriage. A man and a woman was married, and then actually the brother and a cousin or something was also married, but it was a family of artists, and they made this from Egypt, and they turned belly dance into a stage dance, because, like I said before, the original version is for restaurants or things like that. So the movements were very small and very, you know, together, like collected. You were like here around your body, because you didn't have a lot of space. Where when they turn it to stage dance, you know, you have a complete stage you have to fill out. So it means more bigger movements, so people can see it in the back. It means bigger arm movements to kind of fill out the space. So, and a lot of it was inspired by ballet. So a lot of our nice arm postures, patterns, and things like that comes from ballet, because, like I said, the original was more focused on the torso and hips. So not as much legs and arms and things like that. And they performed all around the world, at least here in the East. They've been in London, England, Spain, and a lot of places. They traveled around and made these shows from 59 to 83 or 72, and then Farida, who was the last one, stopped in 83. And this is where it also kind of went from just a few instruments into a complete orchestra, where you may on the street or restaurant dance maybe just had a 3 or 5 people playing music, maybe even less. You had an entire orchestra make a piece of music to it. And something else also is that the original, I keep calling it that, was improvisation. Choreographies came later with a woman that I'm going to talk about in 1 second. But the original was improvisation, and the reason why we do choreographies now, it's because it's easier to get into the music, to learn the movements and come up with ideas and so on. But actually it's an improvisation, because also I think they didn't have, the music was improvised, so the dance also had to be, improvised. And also this radio group, they fused Western instruments with this Egyptian music, which also made a complete twist from the traditional. They were very innovative and kind of pioneers within this. They won different prizes. They were huge at this time. And still am, like they are one of the founding events for the modern belly dance that we have today. Yes, I'm gonna get back to that in a second, but the other one I wanted to talk about is Badia Masabni, which is also a very, very famous woman who was a dancer, and then she opened up her own club in Egypt. And she had a very, very successful club, and she had dancers and singers and I think like magicians and every kind of entertainment thing, but dancing, was her thing. And many of the then later very famous dancers came from her club. So she was very good. She also, that was in the 30s and 40s. And this is where improvisation became a choreography. She started to make choreographies and started to make dancing specific. She also made the use of arms more. The snake arms that we sometimes see today came there at that time, because like I said, it was all torso. So the arms came there. Also the use of veil, probably inspired by, was it Isabel Duncan? I'm not sure, but also one of the founder of modern dance, like regular modern dance. And Badia was also the one kind of introducing veil work into belly dance. So it's not even 100 years old. So if you think veil dance is something going way back, it might be, but it wasn't really until this time, 30s and 40s. Yep. So yes, and then so one thing that has become, and I think still is, because it's so deeply rooted in many people, is that belly dance is many times viewed as something naughty, something sexual, and so on. Just funny story, I was looking, I make videos on on Instagram and TikTok and so on, and when I was searching for dance, songs So with dance, it's always about a stripper. There's no like just a professional, you're a dancer. It's always about a stripper. So I think, and also in Egypt, it has been banned, as far as I remember, a few times, like completely banned, because it was, and still is, if you go to Egypt, don't tell them you're a dancer because they think you're a prostitute, which is again funny because you cannot have an Egyptian wedding without a belly dancer. But anyway, it's much shameful to be especially a belly dancer in Egypt and many other areas, because it's yeah, it's some people think it's so sexual, and they think you're a stripper or a prostitute and so on. And yes, there are some dancers out there who looks like that, but not all, which is again why I'm focusing on the dance and not all of those yeah, making it sexy. Like, it's more about the feeling than the look. And I can completely understand why some people feel like it's this, like it's a sex object. Like a dancer, belly dancer is a prostitute, or is a sex object. But I really hope that will change, and it has changed, and I hope that it will become better, because in my, at least personal, for me, dancing is like any other sport. I dance like other people would dance ballroom dance, or some people play tennis, or some people play golf, or some people play football. It's a sport to me. At least that's one side. Then the other side is the spiritual side, that it the way it feels, and it makes me happy, and what it does to your brain and all of that. But to me, dance is a sport. But again, not in all countries, so be mindful of where you are and what you tell people. But they still have some amazing dancers, and they are very respected as dancers. But most dancers are viewed as sexual. So anyway, it's just to let you know that if you go out and you start performing, that you will get comments. You will get messages on your email or your Facebook or wherever, like how beautiful you are, and oh, we were made to be together. I get these like all the time, So but don't be frightened by that. You just ignore them. And if it's you meet them in person, just say thank you and go away. If it's too much, of course you can always say no. Actually, one of the reasons I don't perform in, like, it's a thing for Eastern people, and so here in Europe, when people have parties, they would love to have a dancer, but I don't do that because of that. Because to me, it's not something to be, sorry, lose my shoulder, to be viewed as in that way. I wouldn't like going on stage, because this is a thing that they do. I wouldn't like to go on stage and then have people, you have these people throwing money at you. Like, that's not to me, at least, what the dance is about. And some people do that, and I'm fine with that, but I don't want it. I don't like it. So do your dance, I want to say, however you want to. Okay, so that was the introduction. So it took a while, but this was like the things that I wanted you to know. So now get ready, because we are getting up and we're gonna start moving. We're gonna do these movements, and we're gonna make the little choreography, and it's gonna be so much fun. So get some water, get ready, and I'll see you in a second.